What is going on again, ladies and gentlemen? Today I'm basically going to be going over how I went from dropping out of university, not knowing what to do with my life, working the 9 to 5, working for contracting, and then basically just booking my one-way flight to Thailand and starting with remote sales, going from $0 a month all the way up to 20,000 a month. And I'm trying to reach up to get more, but of course it does take time. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed the video because I'll go ahead and hop straight into the story on how I went from university student, dropping out, working 9 to 5, and then taking things from there. So we'll go ahead and start off at the very beginning of the remote sales journey. So I was in university at the time about 2 years ago, and I went for a year and a half, and basically all I did in university was, I learned nothing, but I partied, drank, jerked off, and did all of the degenerate things that we don't want to do. And I had nothing going for me. I was broke, I had no money coming in, and I had no girls at all. And I was pretty bad at basketball as well, to be honest. To be completely honest, that's why I went to college in the first place, was to potentially try to go to the NBA. But that was never going to happen, and especially with me partying and drinking all that good stuff, that was not adding up to me equaling to be an NBA player. So yeah, I went to university for a year and a half, and at a certain point in time, just driving drunk in the mountains, I had a sudden realization that what I was doing in university wasn't able to get me anywhere in life, and I was going down the wrong path. And I was looking at my life from a bird's eye view and saw that what I was doing wasn't going to help me get to my desired outcome in life, which was basically being able to travel the world and go wherever I want to go anytime. So my decision at that point was basically just to drop out the next semester and basically to call it quits with university, because I had no money coming in. I was losing a lot of brain cells partying all the time, and I kept asking my parents for money and then just buying drugs with that money. So it was just a very bad time in my life. I think it was probably most definitely the worst time in my life. So when I made the decision to drop out of university, I made that decision based off a few reasons. Number one was during the summer, during the break of university, I started working, and I started making my first little bit of money being a server at Red Lobster. And with that money, I was able to actually not ask my parents for money anymore. I could buy things that I wanted. I could buy cigars, I could go places, and I could actually do things that I actually wanted to do. I didn't have to do any schoolwork. And I thought, man, if I could just make a little bit more money, I could do a lot more cool stuff. And when I went back to university after that summer, that's when I went back to the partying and stuff, asked my parents for money. And I kind of weighed out the pros and cons of dropping out and staying university all the way through. And I basically knew at that point in time that I had to drop out and pursue getting as rich as possible, as fast as possible, so I could start traveling the world and start enjoying life. Because with university, you can go do that, get a corporate job for 60 or 70 years, and then maybe retire for a few years and enjoy life at that point, but that's not what I wanted to do. So basically I dropped out, and yeah, the goal was basically to funnel my 9 to 5 income, because I was working at Red Lobster and at Racetrack, which is like a gas station if you guys don't live in the US. And basically the only plan and the only knowledge I had at the time was to funnel both of those incomes into stocks, crypto, whatever you want to say, basically just multiplying my money until I was able to retire. Now, of course, me being a college dropout and not having any knowledge of the stock market or anything of the sort, I just threw my money into stocks that I liked either the emblems or the names of, and it just did not work out well. But I was still able to stack up just a little bit into those kind of portfolios, and I was able to kind of just get up a little bit. But my life absolutely sucked. I really hated it, and each and every day I was waking up at 4 a.m. to go work at 5 a.m. at Racetrack. And then from 5 a.m. to 1 p.m. I was working there. Then after that, I'd go to the gym, shower there, put on my Red Lobster uniform, and go straight to Red Lobster. So, of course, with that, I got burnt out very fast, because that's not an ideal life that anyone wants to live. And I was living with my parents as well, so I wasn't able to have any girls over, parties, travel, or anything of the sort. I was just kind of stacking cash, buying video games, and still living a pretty degenerate life. So basically, after working at racetrack for a while, I decided it was time to stop that because one morning when I was driving to racetrack, I just got so sick and tired of waking up at 4 a.m. to go listen to this Indian guy tell me what to do, like go clean the bathroom, go stock the shelves. I punched out the CarPlay in my Honda Civic at least 2 or 3 times, to be honest. And that was just because I was so frustrated and so angry with my life and how bad it actually was. So I just ended up quitting racetrack altogether and still had Red Lobster. But then from that point on, I started doing contracting for this gutter guard company called Leaf Filter, and basically started working with my friend Luke on installing gutter guards on people's houses, which didn't really help much. It was just like the kind of new thing everyone was buying, and I was just the person who installed it on the roof. So we had like 40-foot ladders, putting them on in the very hot heat in Georgia. And I'm making a lot better money than I was with Red Lobster and racetrack, and I was able to start earning a little bit of good income. But still, it was not a very good time, and I did have to get a $7,000 personal loan to actually buy the truck that I needed to do that contracting work, so I was still down the drain a little bit. And at that point in time, I was making around $2,000 a month or something of the sort, and it was still better than staying in university, and I'd still recommend doing that over going back to university. But I was working in the heat, and I still didn't really like my life because it was just a cycle of waking up, go work in the heat, make a little bit of money. And I started feeling the effects very fast of just crushing down my body, working in the heat, and it's just not the best lifestyle. So then one day I was driving back from a job, and I crashed my truck into a mailman. And the reason I did that, I'm not really sure. I literally saw the mailman as I was driving, and I still hit him. I think it was from working in the heat way too long without taking any breaks, and I had like 3 or 4 monsters, so I was caffeinated, overheated, and I couldn't really think. My brain wasn't really operating. So yeah, totaled my truck, crashed into this mailman, and then from that point, I just sold my truck, or what was left of it, for like $2,000, paid off a little bit of the truck debt, and at that point in time as well, I was watching this one guy on YouTube who was living in Thailand, and I was like, man, I actually really want to live that life, because all he does is just go to the beach, make money online. And I knew that all I had to do to live that same exact lifestyle was learn what that guy knew and apply it to my own life and gain that knowledge for myself, so that way I can leverage that knowledge into doing the exact same thing and living in Thailand. So yeah, after I sold my truck and paid off a little bit of debt, I also did book my one-way flight to Thailand, because I also had another sudden realization that my life wouldn't change unless I made a change for myself. So I did book that one-way flight to Thailand and basically had $0 to my name at that point. And at that time as well, me and my friend Luke, we were friends with this one ex-drug dealer. He was like retired and stuff, and he was very well off. And he already knew about my plans to go to Thailand and basically just conquer the world. So basically, he was asking me like what I actually had saved up at the time, and I was like, I got like $0 right now, but I do have like this appointment setting role, which I will kind of get into in a second. But then he was like, yo man, if you just need money, ask. And I was like, okay, could I like borrow $1,500? He was like, yeah, I will give you $1,500 for 0% interest for a year. I was like, okay, fair enough. So now I had $1,500 to my name, and I had that one-way booked flight to Thailand, and all I had was $1,500 and a dream in my pocket. So now I landed in Thailand, and I did have an appointment setter role, which I first learned about joining this very high-level network of people already making money online with remote sales. And I finally landed my first position in remote sales as an appointment setter. And I made $0 in the United States after like 2 weeks of working. And I should have seen that as a red flag, but I still had very high hopes for it to actually start making me money. So I already went to Thailand, had the same appointment setting role, landed here, and basically just had $1,500 to my name. Now, when I first landed here, the second night I met my girlfriend who's upstairs right now, and basically got locked in with her. So I started paying for the meals, my meals, and everything of that sort. And basically my money was draining really fast. And I did have to set up my first apartment. I had to set up the electricity, the Wi-Fi, stuff like that. So my money was going down very fast. And basically I got to the point where I had to quit that first appointment setting role just because it wasn't making any money and I wasn't able to keep paying the bills. So I quit that first appointment setting role and I had to send my girlfriend back to college because I literally had like 20 baht to my name and it was just not a good situation for me to be in. So basically at that point in Bangkok, I either had the choice of seeing it all the way through to making money online or listening to my parents who were willing to buy me a flight back home. Now, if you know me at all, I'm not the type to just let go of my dream and just give up and go back home. So what I did instead, I just did a few 4-day fasts. I kept grinding, I kept networking. And finally, I met my really good friend Tanner, who was finally able to help me land my first solid role as an appointment setter for this day trading coach, who basically teaches people how to day trade. And after a few 4-day fasts and basically learning the skills necessary to start appointment setting, I finally was able to make my first bit of money in remote sales and started making around 2 to 4K a month. And I was finally able to go from $0, 20 baht, up to 2 to 4,000, which was a lot better than fasting every day and not having any money to pay the bills. So now I was comfortable. I was paying for her meals, my meals, rent. Everything was a lot easier now, and I was able to pay back the guy who loaned me 1,500 USD, and everything was looking good. But then I got a little bit too comfortable. I was okay with making 2 to 4K a month, and I wasn't really scaling up at all. So what I knew and what I did is basically just go to Cebu City in the Philippines to actually lock in and to hone in on my skills in remote sales to level up my income. Because I still wasn't able to completely ball out in Thailand and travel where I wanted to go. I was actually just kind of working the 9 to 5 in like a glorified 9 to 5 in Thailand and still wasn't living my dream life. So I knew I needed to level up just a little bit more. So that's why I went to Cebu City, and I did have to go there for visa reasons as well. So basically I went to Cebu City and locked in on my appointment setting skills, and then I moved up to around 6 to 7K a month as an appointment setter for that day trading coach, and was able to level up my life in my financial aspect and being able to actually get to that next step. But then I still wasn't completely satisfied. So at the time, I was still an appointment setter, and my friend Tanner was also closing deals for my other friend. And basically this new opportunity opened up to hop on this new offer as a closer. Now, being a remote appointment setter and a closer, I mean, they're two different things and they're two different skill sets that you need to have. But I just took the risk to at least try being a closer so I could start leveling up my income. So my friend Tanner, he helped me get on this closing offer as well, and I was able to start closing deals, and it was just a very nice situation to be in because in Cebu City, I think it is a little bit cheaper than here in Bangkok, and I was able to save a little bit more. And in Cebu City, that's when I was able to land that first closing offer and to start leveling up my income to 8 to 10K a month. And then from there, basically transitioned fully into remote closing. I quit this appointment setting offer and just went basically into full-time closing. And then within a few weeks after feeling out what it meant to be a closer and started making some really good money with closing, making close to 10 to 12K a month, I saved up quite a bit of money and then finally got the decision to be made to move back to Bangkok a little bit earlier. Because at first, when I first went to Cebu City, my plan was initially to stay there at least 1 to 2 to 3 months, just depending on how fast it took me to level up my income to 10K a month. And I got there a lot quicker, so I just booked my one-way flight back to Bangkok a lot sooner than expected. And then I came back here and set up my entire life. When I got this department, I got my 12-month gym membership and my 15-month Thailand visa. So now I'm good here for an entire year. I don't have to worry about visas, gym, apartment. I'm just entirely good for the year. My expenses are very low. So I can just save, stack, invest, and do a lot of things that I wasn't able to do as an appointment setter. But then I was kind of still capped at 10 to 12K a month, and my skills were, I just felt they were very limited and very capped. So what I did when I first got back to Bangkok, After setting up all my home base, the gym, the visa, and everything of the sort, I started investing in masterminds, mentors, and stuff to actually level up my sales skills to get to that next level. And when doing that, I knew that as long as I kept investing in myself, it would always come back to me and I would always get the return out of the investments that I made into myself. So after investing to these masterminds, these mentorships, I basically was able to hone in on my skills even more and take things to that further next step. And I was finally able to make at least 18 to 20,000 a month. And that was just because I had very limiting beliefs on getting past that 10K, 12K a month mark. And after breaking those limiting beliefs and getting to that skill set needed to get to that 20,000 a month mark, I mean, it was just easily done, and I was finally able to break that barrier. And that all it really took for me was investing in myself, breaking the limiting beliefs, and acquiring new skills in order to level up my life completely. Now, the goal for me right now is basically to get to that 100,000 a month mark, and there's very few people in the remote closing space that are able to do so. And it just takes finding the right offer, acquiring the right skill sets, and networking with the right people in order to actually find that offer. So of course, my goal for that is to get there by the end of November. And I think it can be easily done because if I've gone from basically $0 a month just under 8 months ago to where I am now, I'm already on track to the 100,000 a month mark. I just need a little bit more time, a little bit more focus, and investing in myself to get me to the next step. So that's pretty much the gist of the story. Basically just dropping out of college, going to the 9-to-5, quitting the 9-to-5, started contracting, and then crashing my truck, getting a loan from this ex-drug dealer, coming to Thailand with $1,500, going to $0, finally being able to make 2 to 4K, 6 to 8K, and then so on. So it is a very interesting story, and it's something I can tell my kids one day, that I moved to Thailand, went broke, and then just scaled up to 20,000 a month within a year. So it's been a very wild ride, and I wouldn't recommend it to those who aren't strong-willed or have the highest courage, because it did take a lot of balls, a lot of perseverance, and a lot of character to actually get me through those very rough times when I had $0, 20 baht to my name, and had to go on this 4-day fast because it wasn't a very fun time. It was a very hard time. I had to push through, I had to break through the scarcity mindset. I had to level up the inside and my thought process to actually get out of that, to finally being able to start making money online with remote sales. So if you guys do want to learn how to get to remote sales, and maybe you're having trouble finding your first offer, or you have no idea where to start in the first place, or maybe you don't even know what remote sales is, what you can do is just book a call down below. I can explain the entire process of how I can get you from where you are now, maybe making $0 a month, to making at least 10,000 a month anywhere in the world. So if you want to come to Thailand, if you want to go to Antarctica, anywhere in the world, as long as you have Wi-Fi, a phone, a laptop, I mean, you can make money literally anywhere. And it's very easy once you kind of know the right people, get into the right networks, and have the right knowledge in order to do so. You can replicate the entire process and do the exact same thing. So with that being said, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, the story. I mean, I can go a little bit more in detail further on, but for right now, I do have a call in about 10 minutes, so I do have to bounce. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment if you have any questions, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.